second speaker says he's very, very shy. Now, for those of us who are involved in speaking, that's actually not very unusual. In fact, often it's actually quite desirable. Years ago, I had a sales manager when I was involved in public speaking said, "I don't see the problem with public speaking. I'm happy to stand up in front of people and speak for hours." And we all went, "Yeah, we know." So sometimes the shyness does help. But overcoming your shyness becomes a goal. Realizing that you now have the ability to overcome that shyness and to spread it and teach other people to do the same becomes this man's mission. And to fulfill this mission becomes this man's life. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please put your hands together and welcome to the front, Keith Blakemore-Noble.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Schuller tells us that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And I have no doubt that the good Reverend intends this to be a powerful, positive, motivational statement to drive us forwards. Unfortunately, I believe that due to the words that he used, he's actually created a demotivational statement. Why? Well, he tells us tough times don't last. That's fine. But he says that tough people do. He tells us that to survive, you have to be tough. And by implication, if you're not tough, you won't survive. Not the most motivational of terms. Consider somebody who might want to start up their own business, for example. They get all excited for a moment. I'm going to start up my own business. And then they remember the Reverend's words. But I've never run a business during a recession. I won't know what to do. I'm not tough. I won't survive. There's no point in me even attempting. I'll just stick with my dull, dead-end job, working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. I don't know if any of you can know of anyone who can relate to that sort of thing. Personally speaking, those exact thoughts held me back from setting up my own business for a decade. Those exact thoughts. But ladies and gentlemen, the thing is, you don't survive by being tough. You don't have to be tough to survive. Let's look at consider some of the greats, world leaders, business leaders, or even Olympic athletes. I'm sure we can agree all of these people are definitely tough and survivors, yes? We can all agree that. But if we look back to when they were born, like the rest of us, when they were born, they couldn't walk, they couldn't talk, they couldn't dress themselves, they couldn't feed themselves. Many of them couldn't even breathe for themselves until they got that all-important life-giving slap from the midwife. They were the very antithesis of toughness. Yet clearly they survived. Why? How did they survive? They knew what they wanted to do, and every step of their way in their journey in life, they were focusing on everything they were doing. They were looking at everything that came along. Every challenge, every hurdle, they did what they needed to do to overcome it. And in the process, they grew tougher. See, ladies and gentlemen, you don't survive by being tough. You become tough by surviving. Let's reconsider that example of someone setting up a small business. Let's just suppose that this person did set up the business. Let's call them Chris. Chris sets his business up. He calls his dad. He says, "Dad, I've set up my own business." His father says, "That's nice." He thinks, "That's it. A bit more encouragement would be nice. I'll show him. I'll work really hard." And so he does. The economy's booming. At the end of the first year, he sees his dad and says, "Dad, my business, we made £100,000 this year." His dad goes, "That's nice." He thinks, "I'll get him. I'll redouble my efforts." And he does. The next year, £250,000. The year after that, £300,000. Every time, his father's reaction, "That's nice." Year 4 comes along. Year 4 is a tough year. There's a recession throughout the world. Businesses are collapsing left, right, and center. Chris's business survives, but at considerable cost. He doesn't even want to have to tell his dad what happened, but his dad gets it out of him. "So, son, what are you up to this year? How's your business?" "Dad, I had to borrow £1 million just to keep my company afloat. Chris's dad looks him straight in the eyes, holds his hand out and says, "Congratulations, son. Now you're a business owner." At that point, do you think Chris had felt tough? Probably not, because he was ashamed even to tell his own father what he'd had to do. Yet clearly his business had survived. If someone had told him when he first started, "Chris, in 4 years' time, you're going to have to borrow $1 million just to keep your company afloat," Chris would have been out that door like a shot. But he focused every step of his journey on exactly what he needed to do. He overcame each obstacle step by step. And in the process of overcoming those obstacles, in the process of surviving, he grew tougher so that he was able to survive the recession. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't survive by being tough. You become tough by surviving. And before I go, if I could wish but one thing for all of you, that would be that none of you realize quite how tough you truly are. For as long as you don't realize quite how tough you are, you're going to be focusing on every step of the way. You're going to overcome those obstacles. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to secure your journey to achieving ever greater heights of success. Thank you.